But yeah, who's going to take it down? Envy quite clearly have improved significantly between the group stage and now. Group stage where they lost to Space Station in 3 straight games after taking 1. They struggled to make it through the loser final against Omelette. But yeah, they really picked it up with convincing wins over very top tier competition. So I'm expecting an improved Envy here. I'm expecting a better Envy than we had earlier on. And although Space Station's record is also extremely impressive, taking down Kansas City Pioneers and then also beating G2, I don't think they've been without fault today. We've seen quite a lot of own goals. We saw Rettles having a bit of an off game earlier where he just kept on driving away from the ball in defense and just appearing in random positions. But you know, when it mattered most, when it came down to the clutch moments in that matchup against G2, Rettles and you know, Typical and Arsenal as well were unbelievably efficient with their offensive opportunities. Every time G2 would give them any opening, they would take it. They would put a shot on target, and more often than not, the shot would find the back of the net. Now, I don't think Envy have the same inherent weakness as G2. They don't leak lots of goals every series when they're you know, pressing offensively too much. Envy are a much smarter team at, you know, only pushing for goals when they feel safe, always trying to keep 2 men back or 1.5 players back. 1 person rotating is the half, of course. But yeah, even with all that in mind, Envy were still second best to Space Station earlier in the day. We'll see if that was just an off series for Envy, or if Space Station will replicate their earlier success. So far, both teams are just weighing each other up, and this is a very Envy-looking series, or a very Envy-looking game, I'll say. They are a team who like to play a much more solid style. They don't play for risky passes. They don't play for risky shots. They just keep things very standard, and they always have multiple players recovering quickly, rotating back. And you'll notice that they make plays for the corner more than a team like G2. G2 are more than happy to play for that infield pass over and over again. Envy not so much. They do it occasionally, but infield passes are just as dangerous for your team, the team that are making them, as they are for the team that are defending them. Because one interception and an infield pass is the easiest way to start a counter-attacking play. Brilliant run on by Mist. Arsenal's beaten to that one, but he's recovered well. And after missing the first ball, he really made up for it with that save. It's been an action-packed game despite the fact that we've had no goals and very few shots on target. Fast-paced as you've come to expect from these teams. And you know, Envy have done brilliantly to handle that loss to NRG in the semi-finals of the first RLCSX regional, and really use that as motivation, use that as a springboard for success. Since losing 4-0 to NRG in the semi-finals of the first regional event for North America, Envy have been destructive. They're sweeping everybody, and that's a great shot, and Turbo will finish it off. Of course, Mist. You put him in these positions for the double touch, he's always going to be threatening. His accuracy from these kind of plays, I think, might be unrivaled right now in North America, even unrivaled by the Space Station players. And Envy have certainly stepped up from what we saw earlier. Space Station have shown a willingness to play from behind. No, maybe not a willingness, it might be the wrong word, but an ability to play from behind, certainly. I think both of these teams handle their losses really, really well. You know, G2 not so much. I think NRG have looked pretty tilty after losing in various games and series that I've watched them play this year. Rogue, I mean, you guys don't need me to provide you of an argument of Rogue losing a series where they should have won, or looked quite comfortable early. Envy and Space Station, for me, they're the teams who are very, very consistent at the moment. And I expect to see lots of success from both of them throughout the year. Typical. Gonna look for a teammate behind him, but actually looked like Space Station need a 4th man. Well, they got one. Typical started the play, and after Rettles and Arsenal make a touch on it. He manages to come back in and finish it off. That's a really good pass by Arsenal. Missed, was convinced that Arsenal was going to shoot from that range, but the drop down enabled Typical to do that in a much more deadly position. 41 seconds remaining. Awkward position for Arsenal now, but he's actually found Rettles up on the corner wall. That's great communication, or just great awareness from Arsenal to know where Rettles would be. Flick from Arsenal has Envy on the back foot. Turbo's going to dribble the ball past Mist here. I mean, Turbo knew that he had a clean run at the corner, a pretty safe collection of possession, so it makes sense that he would want to take the ball away there from Mist, who's, as far as Turbo knows, running right into a challenge. Space Station looking for a goal before OT. You know the Envy are, well, at least some of the Envy players are inevitably low on boost now. Oh, actually, Atomic ran off to the mid boost to grab 100. And he did it at a safe time, unlike Chicago in the last series. But we are going to get overtime game 1. And man, I don't know about you guys, but I am sweating right now. Just watching these games. Sweat is pouring off my forehead. But luckily for me, with the size of my nose, it has not yet reached my mouth. It is still on the way down. I mean, when you do, you'll probably hear it start choking. Massive volume of water. It's about, is it water? Is sweat water? My goodness, I'm showing my lack of intelligence again. I really need to stop talking. Just let the game cast itself. I'm sure that I can already see that one guy on Reddit who's asking, where can we watch this stream without the casters? Still hasn't found a mute button in 2020. It looks like Envy need more players for this 50-50. They can't win against Sipical himself. Ooh, a cheeky pass there. It's well closed down by Sipical. But I love a little pop pass in these positions. That was literally a top 40, Johnny. It's not a joke, Johnny. Hey, listen. I don't think I've ever said 40 funny things in my stream. Even if we include things I've said on other streams. Yeah, I had a couple of roasts in the RLCS cast, the regionals. I mean, some of the plays that we're seeing coming out of these regional events with 32 teams being present are questionable at best. So, love to throw in a few roasts here and there. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. Really nothing to roast here about Mist in this game, though. Cracking striker of the ball. He's one of those players who's very quickly gone from underrated to one of the highest rated players in the Rocket League fan perception. Just deadly. Deadly is how I would describe Mist recently. Very, very difficult to handle. Very, very difficult to contain that kind of speed. And it is pretty crazy. When Turbo joined this team, everybody was thinking, right, Atomic, he's one of the best mechanical players in North America. Maybe top 5, top 3 mechanics NA. Turbo, he's got the brains of the operation, and then everybody was kind of just counting out Mist. He's like, oh yeah, and then Mist is there as well. They've got a third player. But actually, recently Mist has been their star player. Just unbelievable confidence and speed, and the timing that he arrives into these positions to take shots, to make double touch plays happen. That's what other teams need to be taking note of. I was, a bit critical of G2 in the last series. They had players arriving at the edge of the box and then having to make a complete stop because they're there too early before the pass is. A Mist, once again, he's got that killer instinct. That's a big dunk, actually. It doesn't look like much. Certainly a mistake by Space Station to center the ball in front of their own net, but Mist just rolled right through that one. Dominant challenge. Turbo saved a little bit of boost. Not enough to catch Arsenal out of position. Extremely Envy games so far in Envy series. They do love a 1-0, this team. I definitely am not a fan of 1-0s. Not as much as Shogun. Shogun wants nothing more than every game to be 1-0. Sweep or not, he just wants to see series that all of the games are 1-0. He's got a very odd obsession with all 1-0s. I think Shogun must have really liked those puzzles at school where you've got to spot the difference. It's like 4 pictures and one is all circles and then the other one's squares, and Shogun's like, there it is, that's the different one. And he really wants to see a series where all the games are the same. I'll need to run that by him, actually. I'm quite curious to know his take on that. To be honest, who doesn't like those puzzles? Those were the best. Oh man, those were the best classes in school. Of course, for me, I'm talking advanced physics, the ones where you got to figure out which picture was the odd one out in the group. At least my teacher told me it was advanced physics. Maybe they were having me up. They do teach that. Do they teach that in advanced physics these days? I'm asking the wrong crowd, to be honest. Let's be real. You guys, when you were studying your physics, or you're supposed to be studying your physics, you were actually just watching Twitch streams, playing video games. As if anyone here knows about advanced physics. I don't. I actually, not gonna lie, true story. I was accepted in my high school into the advanced physics class, but then I got an unconditional offer for a university course that I wanted to go to, which was a year later. Well, it was to be a year later. So as soon as I got that unconditional offer, I dropped advanced physics, I dropped advanced maths, I dropped, I can't remember, I dropped another tough subject as well, and I took PE and art and practical cookery. I had a great last year of high school. It was wonderful. Learned absolutely nothing. And you know, I could watch Arsenal score these all day. I'm still not going to know how to do it myself. I'm learning really just how bad I am at Rocket League watching this guy play. That's a monstrous shot by him. You know, the space that he was given there was definitely criminal, though. Envy should know better by now than to give Arsenal that much time on the ball. To give anybody at this level time on the ball, to be honest. Everybody on Space Station certainly is capable of landing a flip reset and then putting an unsavable shot on target. You know, an unsavable shot that the entire Rocket League community unanimously is happy to see. I don't think I've ever seen anybody complain about how unstoppable a flip reset shot is. Oh, any goal involving a demo, however, not so much. It's a hilarious comparison for me when people will not respect and they will hate on demo goals because they're unstoppable. Thinking in particular in 1v1, the unstoppable move, some people call it. And really, I think the real unstoppable move right now is any kind of late flip reset on the ball. Like, nobody can read these yet. Way too soon. I mean, maybe 2022 we're going to get some just hard reads on flip reset plays when the intricacies of the setup will actually be indicative of where the ball is ending up. Right now, that's not happening. All we are seeing, though, is that Space Station are coming back here. We had 2 goals in a row for Envy between the first 2 games. Now it's all SSG. And reminiscent of Space Station's first goal that they conceded this game. Only goal that they conceded this game. Great pass actually coming in from Atomic in that one. Less than ideal for Envy, but that kind of panic situation does still happen. Especially when you're in a grand final, especially when you're up against SSG. Atomic is just assuming that somebody's about to smash that shot on target, smash the ball into the top corner. And he just thinks, well, I better do something with it. And unfortunately, the something he came up with was not something to be proud of. See if he can make up for it here. Oh, he has. That's a great pass. Well intercepted by Arsenal. He's managed to turn that into a counter-attack. Rettles off the bar. Missed will read it almost every single time in that position. And now Turbo is coming down the middle. Oh, Atomic's got a great knock on. Turbo, the open net. He's jumped over the ball. Oh, Turbo. He's been watching too much of Jesse's stream. That was a glorious opportunity. I was waiting to see if Atomic would run onto the goalie and demo him or bump him, but you saw the difference in play style there. If that was a Space Station attack, 9 times out of 10 you would have had the Space Station player demoing a goalie, but Atomic wanted to go for the redirect instead and he pulled it out of the bag. Unfortunately, Turbo's double jump was not sufficient, and Turbo might be a little bit tilted by that when he's just flopped into the goal, miles away from the play. Speaking of flopping past the ball, Sypical's going to give it a go. He thinks, you know what, that looks kind of fun. A little bunny hop and then watch the ball bounce past you. My goodness, Turbo's infected the whole lobby with whiffs. What is going on? I swear that's the thing, though. I really do believe that that's the thing. One person whiffs and then everybody's like, actually, you know what, same. I like the look of that. I'm going to try that one myself. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, nice. Guys, if you want to use the Jesse Smash emote, it's lowercase JESSIE, then uppercase SMASH. Well, I could have just said lowercase Jesse, uppercase Smash, couldn't I? But I wanted to prove to you that I could spell or read. You can't really tell if I was just reading that one. There you go. Ah, that's what you like to see. Oh, a whole chat of Jesse smashing. I love you guys. Oh my goodness, that is the funniest emote. Can we get 100% Jesse smashes in chat? Come on, guys, you can do it. Just copy. You can copy paste an emote as well. You can copy paste an emote, even though all you see is an emote. It is copy pasteable. Give it a go. That's what I like to see. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Turbo would be proud. I mean, as far as accomplishments on the night go, I think that's top of the list for Turbo. He's got a whole chat Jesse smashing because he double jumps. I mean, that's power. That is the influence of the four-time. Anyway, 1-1. We're in a best of 5 now. Quick little format change in the grid. The players didn't want to play a best of 7, so they've traded games. But it's everything we expected. It's everything we could have hoped for so far. Incredibly close games. And really, G2 need to be taking a look at how Envy defend, because, yeah, they weren't, 100% on their defense in the last game. But their style is definitely something that G2 could learn from. Just always having support for each other. They're following up on each other's challenges. They're backing up each other in defensive positions. We haven't yet seen any of those kind of 2v1 plays that we saw Space Station dominate G2 with, because Envy aren't giving them any openings. It's not that Space Station have stopped going for them, it's just Envy aren't allowing it. Hold on, what's happening here? Arsenal. Oh wow, I thought maybe he just faked a wall clear and then tried to turn around and collect the ball, which should have been extremely cheeky in that position, but actually he's just driven on, he's done a little, I don't know, ring around the rosy there on the wall. He's just drawn a circle away from the ball. Really not sure where Arsenal was going in that play. It looked questionable enough that I'm just now hoping that his internet connection, his controller's okay. It was that random. Is his monitor still on? Pulling a little Chicago, running away to grab boost at the wrong time. Arsenal seems to be back in the room here. Is he going for the bump off the back wall? You can hear Arsenal didn't have boost there. I'm sure he would have gone for a bump on the back wall. Brilliant pathing by Sypical, but Turbo's right there with him. Delays his dodge. Actually forces Rettles to hit the ball the wrong way. Is Jesse Smash a global emote? No, it's a better Twitch TV emote. So if you're watching on mobile, you will not be able to see it. But if you're a PC user and you want to see Jesse Smash and all of the other GIF emotes, all the other emotes that pop up in Twitch chats regularly, or any kind of spam that you think, wait, what are people typing here? It's probably an emote that you don't have because you don't have better Twitch TV. It's a browser extension. Not sponsored, by the way, but I would recommend you get it if you want to see the Jesse Smash emote. It's a GIF. It's wonderful. And there's plenty more. Lots of emotes in the chat are better Twitch TV emotes. Yeah, you just got to install the browser extension and switch it on. Simple as that. Better Twitch TV. So not a lot of boosts to play with in the final third for Space Station this game. And actually, a rare aerial whiff there from Arsenal. He's got everybody in a total confusion though. And now there's just no boost for Envy. Rettles is going to go for them with the rebound. Oh my goodness. Envy were just helpless. It's like watching a bot lobby figuring out how to challenge a player who's decided to aerial. They're like, we can't do that. We don't have any boost. How do we fly? Oh man, Rettles is one. He popped that ball in the back wall. Pops it in the back wall again with a reset. And it's the same style of reset we saw from Sypical earlier. Something I think is going to become more and more popular these days. The lean back reset. You just fly up like a silver player trying to learn how to aerial the ball. Too low, but on purpose. So you can really kick the ball up into the back wall with your reset. Brilliant stuff from Rettles. He managed to get a dunk as well. It's just brutal. But you can just tell, you know, we don't need one of these fancy overlays to know that nobody on Envy had boost there. And even if they do in this play, it doesn't matter. Rettles finds his farm. the poaching is real. Look at him. He was just lingering up there like a bad smell. And unfortunately, Envy, they did not bring the Febreze. Do you guys have Febreze in America? What's the American version of Febreze? I feel like I might have just alienated a lot of people with an inside joke. It's not even an inside joke, it's just a product. You do? Nice! Okay, my joke's landed on everybody. Fantastic. Love to hear that, because I never really know. I never know if, whenever I bring a product up, I'm like, oh no, have I just said something that nobody understands? But really what I'm thinking is, oh yes, I've definitely said something nobody understands. That's amazing. Love to do that. Oh man, the Rettles goal here has just absolutely inspired Space Station, and Atomic as well with another assist. He's tried to go for the back pass. Cyprical cuts him off, and it looks like Space Station have completely turned this one around. It's exactly what happened earlier. You know, Rettles especially, he doesn't just want to beat his opponents, he wants to absolutely style on them. There are probably much easier ways he could have scored on Envy in that position. I think a basic rebound would have done the trick. It looked like they were all totally boost starved. Now if they're totally boost starved, I think it wouldn't even matter. If he rebounds top shelf, there's no save possible. But he goes for the flip reset rebound just for style. Johnny, how does it feel like EU's the third best region now? What's the other region that they're better than EU? I mean, it feels, if that's the case, if EU turn out to be worse than NA, I'll feel pretty smart, to be honest. I was arguing NA's case on the EU RLCSX pre-show last week. I've been pretty open with the fact that I think Space Station are the best team in the world right now, and they would be my pick to beat anybody in EU at the moment. But yeah, I think Space Station are probably the best team. And I also think that most of the top 10 teams in the world would be European. So it's a bit of a, you know, NA win with the, they get the best team at the moment, but I think EU have got the most teams who could be competitive at a championship. I think the amount of teams that would be competitive at an actual LAN internationally right now for NA would probably be 4. I think just 4 teams. The top 4 teams, the 4 semi-finalists from today, basically, that's your teams who I would expect to be competitive at a LAN currently, coming out of North America, an international LAN that is, which won't be happening because of COVID. But for EU, you're probably looking at like 7 or 8 teams that are all competitive, because EU is definitely more stacked in that regard. You've got a lot more teams who can pop off and just make a deep run. Yeah, people are going to say Peeps because Peeps won DreamHack Montreal that one time, but I mean, the Peeps who won DreamHack Montreal are 2/3 playing for, well, teams that you're right now looking at on your screen. We've got Mist playing for Envy, and we've got Rettles playing for SSG. Now, when you take the 2, I think, best players, or at least best performing players from that Peeps roster who had that crazy DreamHack run, it definitely limits, I think, my expectation of what the Peeps would do at an international tournament right now. Now, maybe between now and the first international tournament, Peeps are going to step it up again. But for now, I'm not considering them in the conversation for teams who would be likely to win. You know, just because they've got the same team name as a team who won a tournament one time on LAN doesn't mean that they're in the conversation. Not for me, at least. Rip Gyro. Hey, I think that Gyro's a great player. I think that Peeps are a great team, but they're not on the same level. They're not in the top 4. Let's just put it that way. And I mean, if Space Station can beat Envy today, I don't think any. That's just brutal. Cyprical ravaging the defense. But I was going to say, I don't think anybody will argue that there's a top 1. I mean, I don't think anybody's arguing right now that there's a top 1 in NA. It's not top 4, it's top 1. Like, no, none of these teams. Yeah, we've got a clear gap between 4th and 5th in NA. But I think there's an even clearer gap between 2 and 1. I think Space Station are way in front, based on how consistently they've performed. So yeah, right now that's what they're thinking. It's not top 4, it's top 1, guys. You guys have to prove that you're still at Space Station's level. Now Envy can do that right here. If they get 2 grid wins in a row, now suddenly we're talking. Now we've got you know, the gap is closing. I think Space Station is still, regardless of what happens in this series, Space Station is still number 1 NA. For me, at least. But gap would certainly close a bit if Envy can win this. And they've looked competitive. The difference is that Rettel's pop-off in Game 3 was unmatched. And it so far has been unmatched in anything Envy's been able to create. Mist had a great Game 1. And since then, it's been pretty quiet from the Envy squad. They just do not have the sick pop-offs, or they haven't had one yet. Turbo is just lurking in the box here. He's been there for a good while. Almost hits a goal out of it. It's just really good defense by Space Station. Space Station have improvised so well today. They've played such a calm, goal line defense whenever the ball's on their goal line, and it really, I mean, in those positions in Rocket League, even at the pro level, you don't have time to communicate whose ball it is. You just have to play entirely off intuition, and that's what these guys are doing. The ball's on the goal line. You just have to know whose ball it is. There's no time. There's no time to wait for even the TeamSpeak or the Discord tiny delay that you're going to get when you're communicating using voice chat programs. You just have to know whose ball it is. And Space Station today have been really good at making those plays. Pre-flip by Typical. He'll be shut down by Atomic. Now Rettles has a lot of time here. That's maybe another mistake that Envy have been making. I don't know how much of a choice they have in the matter at times, because once again it looks like they might be a bit boost starved, but they have got a nice clear off of 50-50. And you know, if you're playing a boost starved defense, that's why 50-50s can be so valuable. You see there, Turbo just drives into the ball, makes sure to get behind it, goal side, and send it right into the Space Station half off a challenge. That's way better than the soft clearing the ball. Another safe defensive play from Envy. Very composed. Now Mist is up quickly. That's a great pass. That was the best chance of the game for Envy, but it's gone away from them. You know, Mist has been so threatening with his shots recently that nobody on Space Station expected him to be passing that. You see Mist flying in these kind of lanes, you think, okay, he's double touching that 100%. No, he's passed it. Okay, we didn't see that coming. But it looks very good for Space Station right now. It's the same problem for Envy that I was talking about earlier. They don't have a pop-off, at least not yet. And the Space Station have got 3 players who can all pop off. Any of these guys can just step up, make a couple of huge plays single-handedly, and turn a series around. And Envy recently, they've had Mist doing that for them, but Turbo and Atomic are not. I don't think right now they're able to replicate what Mist and the entirety of Space Station Gaming are capable of. I will be gladly proven wrong on that, though. If Turbo or Atomic step up and start solo carrying a game, really get a big momentum shift in their favor, that would be awesome to see. But really, it's just Mist these days for Envy. Turbo and Atomic are playing solidly. Oh my goodness, what a save by Rettles. It was a great pass by Turbo, and Atomic is right there for it. Now another goal line save coming in for Arsenal. Just look at the goaltending from Space Station Gaming. All day they've been doing this. They've been stopping shots right on the goal line, frustrating their opponents. And once more, Rettles is going for style. He had the clear shot at the net. Obviously wants to double instead. But this is just crushing to the Envy morale. And really, more than anything else, it's a crushing blow to Jorby's Twitter game. He called me out, actually, before the series, saying that this time they're going to get the W. Followed up by some hashtag, which I imagine is an Envy hashtag. Hey, they might yet. That's a fantastic play. I've been asking for Atomic and Turbo to step up and make something happen. That's beautiful by Atomic. What a two-touch play in the corner. And Envy love to try and center the ball off these high corner plays, off these high corner positions. But they've been struggling with it up until now. That was phenomenal stuff. Now hard mode begins, and Mist has ran out of boost. It goes into the floor before we can even think about a 0-second goal. 3-1. Space Station are a game away from winning the grid for the 3rd time. And this would actually be the 3rd time the Space Station win the grid on an odd week. They won the first one, the 3rd one, this being the 5th one. I'm starting to see a pattern here. And it's not a pattern that Envy are going to be happy about. It does not involve them winning any of the next 3 games now, or all of the next 3 games, I should say. Maybe they're going to win a few of them. A couple. Definitely not a few if they lose the series. They will not have won a few of the rest of the games. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the grand final nonetheless. It's not looked too close. Well, the games have been close, but the series isn't. That's the story so far. The games have been pretty close. The series is pretty one-sided at the moment. And this is the first hiccup that Envy have had in playoffs since they started that incredible streak last week where they swept the entire playoff bracket. Crazy pre-dump by Sypical. He's ran out of boost, but obviously Envy don't know that. Good ball chase still by Mist. He just has to go for the ball there to make Turbo and Atomic's lives easier. Waiting and not going for that would have been a nightmare every single time that Wrestles is approaching this Envy goal. He's either backboarding the ball to himself or he's passing to himself off the post. Great positioning by Turbo. He's cut off the far post pass. But once again, you'll see that although Wrestles was there to potentially receive a pass in that position, he wasn't all in for it. He didn't commit too early. So as soon as the ball goes past him, he's very easily able to rotate back and make it into defense before the ball does. Make it to the goal area before the ball does. That for me is the main difference between Space Station's defense when they're attacking a center ball and G2's defense when they're attacking center ball. G2 just go a bit too far forward too early, and then when they get counter-attacked, they're not there. That's a nice shot though. Turbo spots the gap, puts it straight through. And it is Mist popping off with a little pop center ball. And the 50-50 is favourable for Envy. 1-0. Life left in the blue team. Yeah, Sypical knows that Atomic can't shoot from that angle. Definitely not on target. But surely that's not in, is it? It's just going to hit the post. That would have been pretty unfortunate for Envy if it rolled on target, but they would have kind of been to blame because, you know, we're talking a lot about how to safely approach this post as second man. That's how you do it, but oh my goodness, Sypical with another goal line save. Once again, Space Station Gaming pull out an unbelievable stop. At this point, I'm not surprised, but still unbelievably impressive. Just being in the right place at the right time, becoming more and more important in professional Rocket League these days. Mist is through. Oh, he's missed an open net. That was so close for an Envy 2-0 score, but you've got to hit those. Mist has been the man for Envy recently. I thought surely he would score when he had a free shot. It was such a great challenge. Like, Mist's aerial speed, by the way. Whenever people are talking about fastest player in the world, why is nobody mentioning Mist's name? This guy is insane. He gets up to the ball so quickly these days. You know, maybe not the fastest player in other aspects of the game, but in terms of just pure aerial speed, getting to the ball before your opponent in an aerial battle, I think Mist has to be number 1 right now in NA. You know, he's basically NA Astral at this point. I'd love to see a battle between Justin and Mist these days. See who can come out on top in pure speed. I mean, if you're looking at one person in the Space Station to challenge him, it would be Sypical. But so far, Mist has just looked, I would say, to slightly have the edge in that matchup. Big dunk by Turbo. He almost flops onto the rebound as well. And that was a huge turning point. Space Station were ramping up another one of those counterattacks. There it is again. There's no, you know, early commitment by Envy. Look at how they're defending. That's perfectly done. Fake challenge by Turbo, and then he immediately turns around. He was the first man in on that challenge, but since he knows he's only got one man backing him up, what does he do? He doesn't throw himself at the ball. He just fakes the challenge. And that is honestly a 300 IQ move by Turbo, because after he fakes the challenge, the player in front of him on Space Station has to make a play on the ball, and that allows Atomic, who is backing him up, to challenge with a pretty clear run at it. And since Turbo faked the challenge, he can rotate back around more quickly than Mist, who was out of the game. You've got to point these things out. You've got to notice these things at this level. That's the difference between having somebody to sweep up the mess as soon as the 50-50 between the last man and the attacking player from Space Station falls into the middle, and Space Station having an open net. It's night and day, and all it took was a fake challenge from Turbo. It's one of the many reasons why he is probably the greatest of all time when it comes to competitive Rocket League. G2 take notes. Honestly, if that was a G2 player, I would bet my life that they would not fake that challenge. They would just charge headlong into the ball, get dribbled, last man takes a 50-50, open net for Space Station Gaming. That's honestly what would happen every single time, because G2 don't know how to fake a challenge sometimes, especially as second man in a play. And now we might be going into a game number 6 here. We certainly are now. Turbo with a slow roll to make it 2-0. It's a brilliant game for Envy. Held onto this lead wonderfully, and at no point did they really look vulnerable. Fantastic defense. Yeah, fake. I don't know so much about fake. I think he may have just accidentally tripped up the last man. But yeah, very Turbo goal there to confirm the win. Envy keeping it close here, keeping it interesting. I mean, we knew they would. We knew that this team would bounce back, that they would have more fight in them. I don't think that Envy are a tilty team. I don't put them, well, not currently at least, I don't really put them down as a team who are tilting. Not in a setting like this. I think maybe there was some kind of tilt in the RLCSX Regional 1 final the Regional 1 semi-final against NRG. I think maybe there's a little bit of tilt at play there for Envy, but yeah, for the grid, these guys are unbelievably consistent. Very, very solid. How's the stamina? I'm feeling good. Why do you ask? Do I look tired? I don't feel tired. I'm having a good time with this one. Trick is, of course, just get your game sound nice and high. I don't know why it is, but for some reason, the game sound doesn't really come out as loudly on stream as it does for me. Very, very, I don't know what it is, but yeah, for me, the game sound is louder, even though you guys don't hear it as loud. And I'm not talking relative to my mic volume, I'm talking relative to all the other desktop audio that I have coming through my streaming software. But I think overall, it's better that you guys don't have the game sound as loud as I have it, because I found for online casting, yeah, having game sound, ambient noise, crowd volume up there as high as possible, it helps with like getting into the game in an on-LAN setting, getting into casting mode. Where Smellsworth, he's sound asleep, dude. It's like 4:45 a.m. in France, so yeah, he's hopefully sound asleep. For me, it's 4:45, but I don't have a quote-unquote real job besides Rocket League commentary, Twitch streaming, and content creation, so I was able to sleep in till very late this afternoon so that I would be ready for this very late stream, because I knew the Space Station were going to make Grand Final again. Obviously, they always make Grand Final, so I got to be prepared for that. I've got to sleep in so that I can then stay up late. Good dodge there, Rattles, staying away from dastardly Turbo, who was obviously playing for the demo, of course. I would love to see a Game 7 between these two. I mean, that would be the... I think a Game 7 between these two teams would be enough for me to have faith in this NV roster, being able to produce the goods throughout the rest of the year. They've bounced back from, you know, I've talked about this a few times already this series, but it's such a huge moment. It might be the turning point of their year, really. That 4-0 sweep against NRG, that's lost. You know, since then they've just really stepped it up. And you know, Space Station likewise, they lost last week to Rogue. And since then they seem to have stepped it up again. It just refocuses them immediately, and the ability to use your losses as motivation to get better is so important in a season like this where losses are almost inevitable. You're playing so many games. You know, gone are the days, gone are the seasons where we're going to have undefeated runs, the likes of which we've seen before from teams like NRG and Dignitas in the past. Yeah, that's not happening in RLCS Season X. No way. Oh, huge interception. Turbo reads the game. But it's a lucky play, or a lucky bounce. A favorable bounce, we could say, for SSG. We're not taking any risks so far. They're obviously going to be willing to make the big play should it happen. Here it is. Rattles is lurking upfield. Mist is the guy you want to have back for that play, though, in defense. Look how comfortable he is. Flying straight up in the air to beat Rattles to that ball. Mist had the advantage there, obviously. He was closer to it, so of course he will win when he goes as fast as possible. Oh, what a shot though! Arsenal out of nowhere snipes the top corner. And that's just bounced right out into the middle. And for once, Mist isn't the fastest to the ball. He must have turned around in no man's land. He must have either that or hesitated. Not predicted which way the ball was going to bounce out, because Arsenal just had a completely uncontested shot. And like I said before, it doesn't really matter who you put on the spot. It doesn't really matter who you have about to strike that penalty. Space Station Gaming are going to deliver. I mean, if Rocket League did have penalties, Space Station Gaming would probably be the best team at it, because these guys are just complete stone cold, ice flowing in the veins, no nerves. You put them in a 1v1, they're like, yeah, I got the big play, don't worry about it. Something I would love to see, by the way, penalties in Rocket League. I don't know how exactly it would work, but maybe you got one player spawning right in the middle of the field, side on to the ball, and they can just dribble or go for an air dribble or a ceiling play or anything they want. They've got maybe you give them 10 seconds to score, and all the other player has to do is dispossess them and they win. They start off in goal maybe. That would be pretty cool. It's kind of like a hockey penalty, I guess, where you get the dribble at them. It's not just a dead ball. Dead ball penalty in Rocket League wouldn't work, but yeah, Space Station always deliver. Doesn't matter who you've got stepping up to the plate. Now, some teams maybe you just need one player. I mean, in other sports, you just need one player to be your penalty guy sometimes. Oh, that was a good shot. That was an even better pass, actually, but accuracy letting down Envy there. That could have been the best chance they're going to get. Space Station's defense has been solid at the end of this game, at the end of this series. Pre-flip from Rattles. Atomic has a free clear. What would constitute a penalty? Just another way to do overtimes. I'm not talking about like mid-game penalties. I'm talking about a tiebreaker penalty kind of thing, in which case you do need more than one player who can do penalties. It's not like in football where you have one guy who could do the free kicks. Arsenal trying to pre-flip redirect. He's a diversion. Rattles rebounds in the second goal, and that's a lot more twos on the scoreboard than Envy were hoping for. You gotta think that Mist had his eyes on Arsenal in that play. Saw him flying in, had full faith in him being able to hit that shot. The fact that he's missed it has actually been a benefit for Space Station, because I don't think Arsenal's hitting that one most of the time. He's hitting it some of the time, certainly, but not most of the time on target. And now time is all but gone for Envy. One more goal would be the dagger here, but I don't even know if Space Station are going to need that. They can keep the dagger for another day. Just hide it away in the back of the offensive Arsenal, no pun intended. GG's. Space Station win their third time in the grid. Every odd week has gone to Space Station Gaming. Envy were worthy opponents here, certainly. They played a great series, but it wasn't enough to topple the best team in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Space Station Gaming 4-2 over Envy. The game sound doesn't really come out as loudly on stream as it does for me. Very, very, I don't know what it is, but yeah, for me, the game sound is louder, even though you guys don't hear it as loud. And I'm not talking relative to my mic volume, I'm talking relative to all the other desktop audio that I have coming through my streaming software. But I think overall, it's better that you guys don't have the game sound as loud as I have it, because I found for online casting, yeah, having game sound, ambient noise, crowd volume up there as high as possible, it helps with like getting into the game in an on-land setting, getting into casting mode. Where Smellsworth, he's sound asleep, dude. It's like 4:45 a.m. in France. So yeah, he's hopefully sound asleep. For me, it's 4:45, but I don't have a quote-unquote real job besides Rocket League commentary, Twitch streaming, and content creation. So I was able to sleep in till very late this afternoon so that I would be ready for this very late stream, because I knew that Space Station were going to make Grand Final again, obviously. They always make Grand Final, so I got to be prepared for that. I've got to sleep in so that I can then stay up late. Good dodge there, Rattles, staying away from Dastardly Turbo, who was obviously playing for the demo, of course. I would love to see a Game 7 between these two. I mean, that would be the... I think a Game 7 between these two teams would be enough for me to have faith in this Envy roster being able to produce the goods throughout the rest of the year. They've bounced back from, I've talked about this a few times already this series, but it's such a huge moment. It might be the turning point of their year, really. That 4-0 sweep against NRG, that's lost. Since then they've just really stepped it up. And Space Station likewise, they lost last week to Rogue. And since then they seem to have stepped it up again. It just refocuses them immediately, and the ability to use your losses as motivation to get better is so important in a season like this where losses are almost inevitable. You're playing so many games. Gone are the days, gone are the seasons where we're going to have undefeated runs, the likes of which we've seen before from teams like NRG and Dignitas in the past. Yeah, that's not happening in our LCS Season X. No way. Oh, huge interception. Turbo reads the game. But it's a lucky play or lucky bounce. A favorable bounce, we could say, for SSG. We're not taking any risks so far. They're obviously going to be willing to make the big play should it happen. Here it is. Rettles is lurking upfield. Mist is the guy you want to have back for that play, though, in defense. Look how comfortable he is. Flying straight up in the air to beat Rettles to that ball. Mist had the advantage there, obviously. He was closer to it, so of course he will win when he goes as fast as possible. Oh, what a shot, though. Arsenal out of nowhere snipes the top corner. And that's just bounced right out into the middle. And for once, Mist isn't the fastest to the ball. He must have turned around in no man's land. He must have either that or hesitated. Not predicted which way the ball was going to bounce out, because Arsenal just had a completely uncontested shot. And like I said before, it doesn't really matter who you put on the spot. It doesn't really matter who you have about to strike that penalty. Space Station Gaming are going to deliver. I mean, if Rocket League did have penalties, Space Station Gaming would probably be the best team at it, because these guys are just complete stone cold, ice flowing in the veins, no nerves. You put them in a 1v1, they're like, yeah, I got the big play, don't worry about it. Something I would love to see, by the way, penalties in Rocket League. I don't know how exactly it would work, but maybe you got one player spawning right in the middle of the field, side on to the ball, and they can just dribble or go for an air dribble or a ceiling play or anything they want. They've got maybe you give them 10 seconds to score, and all the other player has to do is dispossess them and they win. They start off in goal maybe. That would be pretty cool. It's kind of like a hockey penalty, I guess, where you get the dribble at them. It's not just a dead ball. Dead ball penalty in Rocket League wouldn't work, but yeah, Space Station always deliver. Doesn't matter who you've got stepping up to the plate. Now, some teams maybe you just need one player. I mean, in other sports, you just need one player to be your penalty guy sometimes. Oh, that was a good shot. That was an even better pass, actually, but accuracy letting down Envy there. That could have been the best chance they're going to get. Space Station's defense has been solid at the end of this game, at the end of this series. Pre-flip from Rettles. Atomic has a free clear. What would constitute a penalty? Just another way to do overtimes. I'm not talking about like mid-game penalties. I'm talking about a tiebreaker penalty kind of thing. In which case you do need more than one player who could do penalties. It's not like in football where you have one guy who could do the free kicks. Arsenal trying to pre-flip redirect. He's a diversion. Rettles rebounds in the second goal. And that's a lot more twos on the scoreboard than Envy were hoping for. You gotta think that Mist had his eyes on Arsenal in that play. Saw him flying in, had full faith in him being able to hit that shot. The fact that he's missed it has actually been a benefit for Space Station, because I don't think Arsenal's hitting that one most of the time. He's hitting it some of the time, certainly, but not most of the time on target. And now time is all but gone for Envy. One more goal would be the dagger here, but I don't even know if Space Station are going to need that. They can keep the dagger for another day. Just hide it away in the back of the offensive Arsenal, no pun intended. GG's. Space Station win their third time in the grid. Every odd week has gone to Space Station Gaming. Envy were worthy opponents here, certainly. They played a great series, but it wasn't enough to topple the best team in the world.